So, what did you see when you went outside? Were there any bluebirds? Were there red birds? Did you see any doves on the ground? Maybe you saw a California towhee? I'm so curious to hear. I'm also curious to hear what you thought when you looked at your feather with the hand lens. Let's talk a little bit more about feathers. I have a story that I'm going to read to you. It's called Feathers, Not Just for Flying. And you can see that I've got my two big feathers here, and then I got a smaller one right here. And this one has all this soft stuff at the bottom. We could say it's downy. This is a downy feather, and that's the kind of feather that'll keep a bird nice and warm. So let's read this story and find out what other things feathers do for birds. And there's a beautiful peacock feather. I bet you guys have seen them if you've been to the Arboretum. Feathers are not just for flying. And look there, we've got a couple of birds that are swimming. They're called cormorants. Birds and feathers go together like the trees and leaves, like stars in the sky. All birds have feathers and no other animals do. But you guys knew that, didn't you? Most birds have thousands of feathers, but those feathers aren't all the same. That's because feathers have so many jobs to do. And look at this. All kinds of different shapes and sizes and colors. Feathers can warm like a blanket. On a cold, damp day, a blue jay stays warm by fluffing up its feathers, and that traps a layer of warm air next to its skin. Feathers also act like a cushion or a pillow. A female wood duck likes to line her nest with feathers that she plucks from her own body. These feathers cushion the duck's eggs and keep them warm. Feathers can shade out the sun like an umbrella. As a hungry tricolored heron wades through the water in search of food, it raises its wings high over its head. The feathers then block out the reflections from the sky and shade the water. This makes it easier for the bird to see the tasty fish and frogs that it likes to eat. Look at that. We have herons in Los Angeles. They're some of our biggest birds, some of the biggest birds that you'll see. They're taller than you. Feathers also protect the skin like sunscreen. On summer afternoons, red-tailed hawks spend hours soaring through the sky in search of prey. Have you ever seen a hawk in the sky? Think about that. They're right under the sun, while their thick feathers protect their delicate skin from the sun's rays, just like sunscreen. Now here's something interesting. Feathers can also soak up water just like a sponge. On really hot summer days, there's a bird called a sand grouse, and it cools off by soaking its belly feathers in a watering hole. Then the father bird flies to his nest, and the little ones suck on his feathers to get the water to drink. Isn't that cool? One really important thing that feathers do is hide birds from predators, because oftentimes feathers act as camouflage. Female cardinals and a lot of female birds have dull, grayish tan body feathers that help to blend in with the trees where they make their nests. That helps keep enemies away while they sit on their eggs. Doesn't it look like she's wearing camouflage? Feathers can make high-pitched sounds too, just like a whistle. And that's true of our mourning doves. When mourning doves take off, you can hear the wind go through their wings and make a kind of a whooshing, whistly sound. So the bird's not making that sound with its mouth, it's making that sound with its feathers. Pretty cool, huh? And of course, feathers serve to attract attention, mostly on the male birds, just like fancy jewelry. A peacock's bright, beautiful tail feathers make them easy to spot. At mating time, the female is attracted to the male with the biggest and most colorful fan of feathers. Have you ever seen a peacock? Let's see, what else? Feathers can help birds float, just like a life jacket. Swans glide smoothly on the water's surface. Pockets of air trapped between their feathers help keep these graceful but big birds afloat. And that's the same for pelicans. Around here we don't have swans, but we've got lots of pelicans. They're very big birds, and they need to be able to float. And feathers can help birds plunge downward, acting like a fishing sinker. Most birds make a special oil to waterproof their feathers, but not the anhinga. The weight of its wet feathers helps the hungry hunter dive deep down in search of fish, crayfish, and shrimp. Look at that, a diving bird. We don't have anhinga around here, but we have cormorants, and they do the same thing. Diving deeply and coming up with a mouthful of fish, usually. Let's see. Feathers can help birds glide like a sled. Emperor penguins have tightly packed belly feathers that form slick surfaces, the feathers that make it easy for these birds to slide across the snow and the ice. Not too much ice around here. But most of all, feathers can give birds the lift they need to race across the sky. I love to see a flock of birds flying in the sky. It makes me feel so free. And that's my story. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you'll have some more fun playing with your feather and looking at it with your hand lens, and especially looking for birds when you go out on a walk with your parents.